Hi guys, so in today's video I'm going to be telling you about dealing with anxiety and my own personal experience with anxiety. I will be doing a separate video on Bella's sleeping, leave her alone. Sorry. I will be doing a separate video on dealing with depression because I have both depression and anxiety, and then I may do a video on having both of them. And this is Buzz. He's gonna listen. Okay, so I was diagnosed with anxiety when I was 15. However, I feel like I've always had anxiety. And yes, I know like everyone gets stressed out, but I was always just super anxious as a kid. Like, sorry, Bella's yawns always make me smile. Anyways, I was super anxious as a kid. Like, anytime any family member would like go on a plane, I would not sleep until I found out that they got to wherever they were going safely. And I would just like cry until I like found out. I would be super duper stressed about school. Like, I remember one time we had a pop quiz and I got 4 out of 16. And I was very upset about that. And yes, I know, you're probably thinking, 4 out of 16. Why are you so stupid? I was never really good at like school, so yeah, that's all I have to say. Just didn't like school, wasn't good at it. I was diagnosed at 15, and then when I was 17, I started medication, and I'm still currently on the medication I started. I'm on sertraline. And it's just anxiety. It's anxiety and depression. Most anxiety medicines are also for depression. Hi, Belle. Belly wants to listen now, too. Yes, I kiss my dogs on the mouth. If you think that's gross, I don't really care. Can you sit? Good girl. Anyways, moving on. Okay, so kind of the reasons why I think I like had anxiety. Like, my mom has always been a very anxious person. Like, she checks locks 800 times, she checks her alarm clock 600 times, just to make sure like everything's perfect. And in fact, one time she was working at a bank and she actually broke a lock in a bank, so they had to move everything around. Are you listening? Good girl. Anyways, yeah, I was also never very talented at things. Like, the thing that I would say I'm most talented at is singing, but there was always someone who was like way better than me, so I was never really confident in my abilities in that. And then I was never very good at school. I would always... Why are you crying? I'm gonna hold her 1 second. Belle would like to be held. Okay, anyways, I was never very good at school, and that also didn't help because, like, I did after school activities, but for me, school was like my life, and it was like I wasn't good at it. I didn't have friends, which I'll talk more about in my depression because that was more so linked to depression. I didn't have friends. I was not doing well in school. Like, I've never been the super duper smart kid. Like, I always did average. Sorry, they both just want to be all up in my grill. Okay, yeah, it was always really difficult, like, during school time, and especially as I got older. Like, from middle school, so, like, from 5th grade. I don't know where middle school starts for you guys, but for me, it's 5th grade. 5th grade, and, like, going onwards, that was really hard. Because at that point, it's like school is more pressuring. It's not like you just go and like you can just take a test, not study for it, or like, not saying that elementary school is easy, but like obviously it's a lot easier because you're younger. And then as you get older, obviously things get tougher. And I always struggled with that. Like, I was never very smart, I was always like at the bottom of my class. Maybe not the bottom, maybe like middle bottom. But yeah, point being, wasn't good at school. We're not gonna ramble on 600 times. I wasn't good at school. And I also really, really hated doing presentations. Like, I remember I would just dread presentation day, and like, teacher would be like, who wants to go first? Or when they had, like, I don't know if anyone else's school did this, but they would put everyone's name and like on a popsicle stick, and then they would put it in a jar, and then they'd pick a popsicle stick. That gave me the worst anxiety, because every single time it's like, are they gonna pick my name? Are they gonna pick my name? And it was horrible. I hated that. I always hated that. Sorry, I like to hear her yawn. Yeah, I hated presentations. I didn't like public speaking. I don't know if I'd ever like public speaking. It just is terrifying. Anyways. Yeah. I was also very, very hard on myself. Like, my parents have never been the type of, like, crazy strict parents where it's like, you have to get, like, an A+, and, like, if you don't get that, that's unacceptable. My parents were never, ever like that. My parents have always been understanding. They both did well in school, but they were kind of like me. It's just, like, they weren't, like, the super smart kids, so they understood that things are going to be very tough. So for the most part, like, obviously they wanted me to pass and do well in school, but they weren't like, you have to get an A+ so you're grounded. But for the most part, it was me being hypercritical on myself, because I would just see all my friends excelling and doing well in school, and then I would be over here, like, failing tests sometimes, or not getting as high of a grade as them. You know, Mummy was very hard on herself. Yeah, I also didn't really want to go to school because I was getting bullied, which I'll talk about more in my depression video. But yeah, so that also affected my anxiety. Because of depression, I didn't want to go to school, and because I didn't want to go to school, I didn't learn, so then that made my anxiety higher because my grades weren't well. So it was like a big anxiety depression circle, and it just didn't work. But eventually I got past middle school. Middle school, like, wasn't terrible. Like, I still definitely had anxiety, but high school is where it was very obvious that I had anxiety. Like, you could ask anyone and they'd be like, yeah, you have anxiety. You have really bad anxiety. And like I said, I feel like I've always had anxiety, but that was where it was like, dude, you have anxiety. There is no doubt about it. Just because, like, once you get into high school, it's like, you need to figure your life out. You need to know what you're doing. You need to know where you're going to college, what you're going to college for. You need to be perfect in school, because otherwise you won't get into college and you won't get your dream job, and then you're just going to be a failure. And yeah, I really just, I feel like most of that is just me placing those thoughts on myself again, but, you know, it happens. Sometimes we're just very harsh on ourselves. Yeah, anyways. Oh, I love these two. They make my anxiety better, because I love them. But then I'm also anxious about if anything were to happen to them. Anyways, tangent. Moving on. Yeah, so I always felt like I had to be perfect in high school. And in high school, at least in Canada, they have like dashes of classes that you can take. So they have like -1, -2, and -3. And except for sciences, they just have like one science. Unless you're in like just general science, then there's general science, and then there's lower general science. It's confusing unless you go to school in Canada, but nonetheless. So in grade 9, they kind of have that as like the assessment year. And then from there, you go into like -1, -2, -3. So math, I was never really good at math in like elementary school and middle school. And I think a lot of that stemmed from all of my classes were in French, and I wasn't very good at French. So if you're not very good at French, you're not going to understand anything, because everything's taught in French. So I feel like my grades definitely got better as I transitioned from predominantly, or to like all of my courses being in French, to essentially just social and French and French. That was it. So that definitely helped. However, learning, guys, stop. Sorry. However, learning like all of the terms and stuff in French and then going from English, that also confused me. So I got put into the lower dash of math. I got put into dash 3. And I remember I was so mad that I had to go into dash 3, and I was so angry, and I did not want to do it, like, at all. But they persisted. They were like, you're doing 10-3, we're not putting you in 10C. And then in 10-3, I got an 89 in the class because I probably could have gotten higher, but like halfway through, I just gave up because I was like, I'm already at a 92. What's the worst that can happen? Guys, can you go eat? I think you're hungry. Go get your food. Go get dinner. Go. Sorry, my dogs are being nuisances. Guys, stop. Anyways, so I took 10-3, got an 89, and then I went into what they call 10C, so they kind of like combine 10-1 and 10-2. I don't really know why, but it's just what it's called. And I actually did really well in that class, surprisingly. I got an 80, and I got an 86 on the final. And that's pretty much all I have to say. I did well, which was quite surprising. But yeah, for the most part, I took all -1 classes. Like I took social -1, English -1, and then I took biology. And there's not really like a -1 or a -2 for biology. It's just biology, or you take general sciences. And then I took -2 math, only because I was taking all -1 classes and I didn't want to take -1 math. Actually, no, the real reason why was because when I had the choice after I did 10C to go into -2 or -1, it was either I do -1 and struggle a lot, or I do -2 and probably get a very good grade in it, which I did. But in that semester that I had to do math, I had biology 20 online, which was terrible. I'll talk about that in another video. And French social, which again, not very good at French, so I was like, I'm gonna take math -2, just keep that as my simple class, you know, do good in it, and then I can focus on bio and social. I mainly just focused on math, because I don't know if it's like this for everyone else, but when you're really good at a class, you just want to be the best at it. And I was also like one of the few kids that actually paid attention to that class. Like there was like me and like 5 other people that actually paid attention to that class, and everyone else was just kind of there because you need a grade 11 math to graduate in Canada. So everyone was just kind of there because it's like, we need this to graduate, so yeah. Anyways, yeah, so when I got to grade 12, even before I started grade 12, I was super, sorry, I need some water. Stay hydrated. Anyways, even before I got to grade 12, I was super anxious about it. Like I remember, especially like being in French, because there's my hair in my mouth, sorry, that's gross. Even in being in French, I was like, I'm not gonna pass social if I'm in French social, and then I'm not gonna graduate because you need social studies to graduate in Canada, so that was a big stressful thing. And especially convincing my parents to let me drop out. Like my parents are usually pretty chill about things. Like they didn't care when I was like, yeah, I don't want to take -1 math. Even though they thought I could have, they were like, yeah, it's your choice. But French was something that they just did not want to let up on. And it finally just took like me having a full-on breakdown and just being like, listen, I can't do this. And then they were like, okay, you can drop out of French. So that relieved a lot of my stress, but it didn't relieve all of my stress, because after social, my worst subject was English, and particularly reading comprehension. And I know everyone in the comments is going to be like, You just read. It's not that hard. Yeah, but it's different to figure out the tone of what the author's trying to convince and everything. Anyways, I just didn't like reading comprehension. It was annoying. And like after our first reading comprehension test, it was like a practice final, but we did it in the first week. I got like a 22, and I just remember going to my choir teacher and crying my eyes out because she was also an English teacher. And yeah, that just wasn't fun, but I had a lot of like anxiety and panic attacks in grade 12. It was a stressful year. And like everyone in the US says that grade 11 is the most stressful year, but for Canada, it's grade 12. So if you're in Canada and you're about to go into grade 12, I wish you the best of luck. I hope everything goes well for you. Belle's gonna come sit. Good girl. Yeah, so it was just a lot of anxiety for me, especially just dealing with my own perfectionism. And yeah, that's about it. And graduation, when it finally came around, it felt like forever. I was excited to be graduated and also not excited to be graduated because I felt like I had to figure everything out, but I didn't have to worry about school anymore because I decided to take a gap year just because of my anxiety, which 1 year turned into 2 years, which probably turned into 3, and who knows if I'll ever go back to school. I don't know, I feel like it happens for a lot of people like that. And then after I graduated, I continued working at my job at Dairy Queen, and working in fast food is always a high anxiety environment. Like the customers are rude, you have to be quick at everything, people yell at you. Like it's just a very like anxiety inducing environment, and if you work in fast food, I totally get it. And yeah, but yeah, working in fast food didn't help. And then when I left Dairy Queen, I got a job at McDonald's for 3 weeks. That was terrible. I'll probably do a video on that because of how terrible it was. And then I got a job at A&W, which I'm at now, and everything was good. And then I got promoted to supervisor, and then I put even more stress on myself being supervisor. And then I got promoted to assistant manager. Well, there's stairs at like the edge of my bed, and she knows how to use them, but sometimes she just won't. Come on, here, come sit with me. No, she's not gonna. She's gonna just whine for the stairs. Anyways, yeah, being assistant manager definitely made it a lot harder, especially because I was already the least qualified person that applied out of the assistant managers. I might do an assistant manager story time, like how I became assistant manager at the age that I am. Anyways, yeah, so that definitely didn't help, and my anxiety now, like, it's fine, but definitely if I have a rough day at work, it'll set me off, but when I'm not at work, it's good. I don't gotta worry about it. Like, if I'm not out of sight, out of mind, basically. She used the stairs. Yeah, out of sight, out of mind. Oh no, Buzz used the stairs to come up. But yeah, that's basically all I have to say for anxiety. Like my story, I might do like how to help with anxiety, like tips and tricks. And yeah, but really with anxiety and both depression, they're very personal. Like no one that I have ever met with anxiety has my exact same anxiety because of different life experiences and then different triggers. So that's just another thing to remember, is that anxiety and depression are both very personal, and you can't judge one person based on the anxiety that they have versus what you have. And yeah, so anyways, that's gonna be all for today's video. And like I said, I will be doing my depression experience as well. So subscribe so you don't miss that. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye!